Welcome, all you wonderful people, to the Let's Talk Movie podcast. Now, you can get this podcast up to 3 days early by signing up at patreon.com/Brennan Aries, where you can get this Let's Talk Movie podcast 3 days early, our monthly watch along, and our weekly Tulsa King watch. And pretty soon, before you know it, you can even get a credit at the end of each and every video. So sign up today at patreon.com/Brennan Aries. This week, we watched 3 movies. Okay. The reviews are up on YouTube. I believe Keeper, if you're watching this on YouTube or listening on Spotify, will be up tomorrow. That is Tuesday. So, right now, we're going to get into the watch order. So, we're going to start with Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I got to admit, I enjoyed parts of it, but other parts were really boring. Other parts, I was like, where's the magic? This is a movie about magic, and you're not putting any magic. It seemed like they wanted to go almost like the Fast Five route, where it's like, oh, we did these things, now we're gonna up the ante, and it's like you don't need that for this. You guys are doing little heists with magic, deception, you know. So I felt like they they put the scale a little too wide. Needless to say, it wasn't bad, but to me, it didn't really give me the satisfaction and likeness for the other two. I feel like I prefer the other two more. And it feels like this one was just trying to up the ante as well as implement the elements of the Four Horsemen nostalgia with the new gen or new school being Bosco, June, and Charlie. I have no problem with Charlie. June is fine. The only one I was like kind of like irky with was Bosco, because the line deliveries that he had, I was cringing every time, nearly every time. Like there was one time where he's, by the way, spoilers if you haven't seen Now You See Me, Now You Don't, The Running Man, and Keeper, all in this video. So 3, 2, 1. There's a point where Bosco is trying to have a diversion. He's trying to create a distraction. So he takes the new F1 car from what's her name? Veronica, Veronica Vanderberg, I think is her name. Ms. Vanderberg, we'll say. So he takes the car, provides a distraction, and I kid you not, this was one of the lines. Come on, Ricky Bobby, help me. What are we doing? Right? Like a fictional character like that? Is he going to help you? And he said another one in that little snippet, like, I'm the best driver alive, or like in the world. And I was like, yo, bro, take it easy. You're not 4 years old, just driving a Hess truck for the first time. Okay? It's a Formula One race car, and you're a magician. Figure it out. The twist was interesting, but I felt like I saw it coming. When you watch enough movies, get the you get the understanding of the format of the film and how it's going to go down. And they foreshadowed it. I mean, with the magic movies, of course, you got to lay down the little sprinklings of how it's going to end. So, when Bosco and Charlie emphasized their their glance on bullet catch, I was like, okay, so bullet catch is going to be put in at the end of the film somehow. It's kind of along the same preface as Chekhov's gun. When you introduce the weapon, you have to use it. So in that situation, they introduced the trick, bullet catch, and it paid off at the end, which I didn't think was bad. That part was good. But what really irked me was the forced old school, new school. You had a whole scene where everyone's just flexing their magic. I was like, guys, is this necessary? Sure, egos can clash. That's fine. But do we need it? I didn't think so. Now, pacing is all right, but like I said, with the whole upping of the ante, it's like you're trying to still build in the world. To me, Now You See Me feels established, right? So why are we still building here? I understand if you're passing the torch for the new gen, but you didn't do that. You said we're gonna keep this bitch going. Thaddeus pays the price. I I kind of saw that only because I don't feel like Morgan Freeman really wants to do many movies anymore. He's getting up there, and I think a big part of him would just like to chillax. But on top of that, we get the very big surprise. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo. Huh? I love that clip. But he shows up at the end after the second one. He was imprisoned. And of course, magicians, it's a lie. He's not in prison, or he is. And this is some like past recording. Guess we'll find out in the next one because he tells the horseman, "You guys think that your job is done?" You know, typical, but stay with me. "You guys think your job is done? Oh, no, no, no. We're just getting started." And I'm like, ugh! Why did we do that? Why did we do that? I thought Now You See Me, Now You Don't was going to be a definitive ending because it's like, now you don't. It's like, okay, we did the trick. Now we're out. Peace. But no, not at all. So now with the new gen, and now that they're no longer the four horsemen, was the five horsemen, then they just became the horsemen because now they are eight, I think. Well, plus Mark Ruffalo's character, so nine, I guess. But it's like, although I did like how who was it? Sorry, my brain just like had a Charlie. Charlie, thank you. I liked how Charlie put together everything. I did enjoy that. I did enjoy that. But I don't know, the egos clashing, the whole old school, new school, the fact that it rides on a dull imitation of nostalgia is like, can we just enjoy? It's not terrible. If you like the other two, you'll like this one, but you will feel the difference. That's all I'll say. And that's pretty much all I'll say for Now You See Me, Now You Don't. It's not a waste of time, it's not a waste of money, but you may want to consider just waiting until it's out on streaming. Only because I have my opinion. I don't think it's really worth it, but if you like these movies and you follow them, go see it. Please. Like, give business to your local theaters, is what I'm trying to say. But that's it on Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Excuse me. On to The Running Man. So, on my Patreon, patreon.com/Ben&Aries, we actually watched the first Running Man. That was our movie night this month. I had never seen the original Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger from 1987. I took this as an opportunity. And I want to state this first. When you're going to see The Running Man, starring Glenn Powell, if you've already seen the original, avoid any sort of thought to compare these two. And I'll tell you why. These are two different stories, two different adaptations. Same skeletal structure, we'll say. Loosely, but two different stories with two different personalities of actors. It's it's also time-wise, it's very different. This takes place in 2017. I'm not sure when this one takes place. I think it's like maybe 2050 or something like that. Regardless, it's the distant future. So, any cheesy movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm in. But let's talk about the newest one, The Running Man, 2025. Glenn Powell was great. A lot of people are coining him as the next Tom Cruise. Honestly, I could see that. I could see that big time because I feel like he wants the action star status like Tom Cruise. And I think, physical wise, he is like in amazing shape. I do wonder if he will go into maybe some of the superhero franchises. I don't know if it would be DC or Marvel. I feel like he would benefit more from DC only because of one, his personality, and two, it I don't really have a character in mind where I'm like, okay, yeah, he would definitely be uh this hero for Marvel. I don't really have that for Glenn Powell. I feel like if I was looking at DC though, I would definitely eye him for say Booster Gold. I think that would be really good for him. I think he would really make that role shine. But I'm not casting for DC. It would be great to be casted, just throw me in. But anyway, back to the Running Man. Coleman Domingo was interesting. So here's a little, not to compare, but the role that Coleman Domingo has as the announcer. So the announcer in 1987 is split in the 2025 version. So in the 1987 version, the announcer is also the head of the game, whereas in this version, the 2025, it's two roles. You have Coleman Domingo as the game announcer, then you have the head of the games, which is Josh Brolin's character, Killian. So Killian was just one person. Killian was one person, two roles. Now Killian is one person, and the role is split in two because now you have the announcer too. And I liked Coleman Domingo's role here because, like I said in my review, it didn't feel like he was just narrating the experience of the game, but at the same time, narrating our viewing of the experience. So it was like we, the viewer, are also in our chairs or in our seats, not at the theater, but like the people in the distant future, where we're just at home or we're out, whatever, watching the Running Man. So I saw the Easter egg with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I guess with that, I'm not too sure. Confirm with me in the comments, but they made that person. I don't know if they're still gonna like have Arnold be the quote unquote Ben Richards because that's the same thing, but they said there was only one previous winner that lasted like 29 days. And so Ben has to try and break that 30. And even Killian is like, you can do it. I could see it in you. He's like, oh, whatever, you freaking weirdo. Like, can I just get my money? But who else was in it? Lee Pace. I wish I saw more. And the same with William H. Macy. When I saw them both in the trailer, I was like, oh, okay, we're going to have them for a while. They're going to be pretty important, especially somebody like William H. Macy. I mean, William H. Macy, for me, Fargo is one of my favorites. Fargo, for some reason, like will always be one of those movies I will never hesitate to put on. Such a good dark comedy. But with comedy, I want to go into Michael Cera. Michael Cera did a fantastic job. It was short, but it was really good. Usually, when you see Michael Cera, you think, oh, it's going to be funny, da da da. And it was. But he also brought a level of seriousness to this role where I was like, oh, okay, I follow you. You tell me what you need to do. With that is also a lot of intensity, a lot of passion. So even when uh the ICS, I believe it's called, even when they try to intercept on Ben while he's with Michael Cera's character, he is so intense and so passionate to bring these sons of bitches down. Like he's almost crazed, but like with his inventions, it's like no defeat. And I like how they made Ben like a symbol, very different from the original because it was like the way he was logging every day, the way I was taking it, maybe because of my pro wrestling brain. Every time he did that, it's like he was laying down a promo. like on the establishment. Like, I'm gonna kick your ass. Do you know who I am? I'm gonna burn it all down. And so the people naturally got behind him, just like in wrestling. He got over. He got that hype. And they're like, all right, let's go for bad. And even I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, like let him win. Even though I'm used to tragic endings as well. But I knew this wasn't gonna happen. I knew that they weren't gonna be like, ah, sorry. Mm-mm. Josh Brolin was really good. He was more of like a subtle, calm, collected villain, and I liked it. It's not. It wasn't like Thanos. It wasn't like any super serious, grim, dark, tough Gurney from Dune. It was none of that. It was fresh air. I mean, even excuse me, even his role in Weapons was was great, and here he still delivers. I feel bad though because I was just looking on Twitter not even like an hour ago, and the box office numbers came in. Now you see me took the spotlight. See what I did there? Stole because it's a heist movie. Running Man had some troubles because it was originally going to compete with Wicked, then it was going to compete with Predator Badlands, but then it decided to compete with Now You See Me, Now You Don't. So anytime a film moves dates that rapidly causes room for concern. And we're seeing the proof in the pudding now where it's gonna suffer because of it. Do I think it's a bomb? Absolutely not. I think Edgar Wright did a phenomenal job at adapting. I almost said adaptating. Adapting to a new and more faithful story to Stephen King's Running Man. I liked it. There's people out there that didn't. I enjoyed it. And if I'm talking about it, that's what matters. If you didn't like it, comment below and I will happily talk about it because I enjoyed it. And if you didn't enjoy it, I want to know why. I want to talk to you. I want to see why you didn't enjoy it and maybe if we can offer each other perspective as to what could have made it better or why was it good or what was bad about it. You know? So it's just like creating a community. The the woman from Sinners, I forget her name, but she played Sheila Richards, aka Ben's wife, in this film. No, not Haley Steinfeld. The other woman that was Eaton. If you're listening, you'll know. But going back to the Running Man, I thought it was good. It's a little like a couple minutes over 2 hours, and the pacing is there. It's in the chase the whole time. There's never really any long stop points, and you're not feeling like you're dragged on. The action keeps going, the story keeps building, and the story gets to the payoff. And it was beautiful. So go see The Running Man now. Head to your local theater and go see Running Man because it was great. And I think it's going to be swept under the rug for 2025, which is sad because there's a lot of marketing going into our last film. And I'm pissed off about it because it's a perfect example of star power, whether it be through the director side or the actor side or studio wise. And it's not being critiqued as an individual project. It's being critiqued with the bias of either the director, the studio, or the actor. Here, it's the bias on the actor, or I'm sorry, it's the bias on the director, Osgood Perkins. And if you heard that name, you probably know what movie I'm bringing up. That is Keeper. I had no expectations going into this film. Zero, zip, none, nada, don dada. But damn, was it bad. Holy. An hour and 35 minutes of just what the hell did I just watch? Like the only scene that I truly loved because of how stupid but like relatable it kind of was the big back scene of Tatiana Maslany, aka Liz in the movie, just noshing, just tearing up some chocolate cake. Mind you, I hate chocolate cake. I can never really eat chocolate cake. Maybe just like a sliver of a piece. But I'm a vanilla guy. I'm a strawberry shortcake guy through and through. Strawberry shortcake any day of the freaking week. That's mine. Okay? Chocolate cake, get out of here. But as she was digging into that cake, I was like, damn, you you fed into the intrusive thoughts. You let those intrusive thoughts win. Everyone has always thought, just like one little like right into the cake. Oh. And I don't mean like throwing somebody's head, just like sometimes you just want to take your hand just right into the cake. At least that's me. But that's who is that? Oh, anyway. I just sent a message to my buddy about a workout that I did, and he's like, "Oh, I ought to try it. I got some Steiner math." um, but I guess things were pretty rough after season 2 of She-Hulk was imminently canceled. But Tatiana Maslany is not the problem in this movie. In the beginning, it's a little stiff, a little rigid, but she really comes into her own when you approach Act 3. And that's where I feel like she really shines. Otherwise, nobody shines because of this script. Osgood Perkins hyper fixated on the creepy, on the unsettling, on the atmosphere at the expense of a logical culminating story. Because I'm still confused. The only thing I really got from that was that this dude is old as hell from like hundreds of years ago. Tatiana Maslany's character is basically like reincarnated, and he's like, "Oh, you look just like her." And he had like other victims too with it. It like focuses so much on being weird and unsettling and strange that it negates any sense of a competent story that makes any sort of logical sense. And that's where I was lost. Even watching it, I felt like I was like leaned up like when is this craziness going to have like a big blow? And like I said in my review, it's a very, and I mean insanely, utmost certainly, unadulteratedly slow. It's a super slow burn. And it's such a slow burn that by the time it actually hits your arm, it just feels like a damp paper towel. And you're like, the hell did you do that for? I just didn't understand. I didn't care to want to invest more for this story. And sure enough, by the time I felt that, the credits rolled. And I was more confused and more upset, more stressed out because I'm like, what did I just waste an hour and a half for? Osgood, bad. Stop making these buku stupid ass movies. I think this is why I'm saying stop giving the benefit of the doubt out of bias of director, out of bias of actor, or of bias of studio. Because then you run into stuff like this. And I feel like that's been a lot of M. Night Shyamalan's projects in the past, let's say like 4 or 5 years. Because let's face it, Split was probably one of the best movies of recent M. Night Shyamalan that came out. Knock at the Cabin, Glass, that was too messy. And then I would say The Watchers, but The Watchers was technically directed by his daughter. So 2.5. 2.5. Um, going into that is exactly what I'm feeling for Osgood. Like M Night had made so many classics, timeless classics in the late 90s, early 2000s. Now I kind of feel like he's not on that same echelon. And I think we should consider the same of Osgood Perkins. Osgood Perkins has made some great things, but he has his flops too. Every artist, every creator has their duds. I myself, whenever I make videos, I got ones that are great, ones that are duds. It's just part of the business. But Keeper's a dud. Don't waste your time, don't waste your money, don't waste your energy, because all you're gonna get is confusion, stress, and pissed off like I am. Okay? So that's going to do it this week for Let's Talk Movie. I hope you enjoyed. Next week we'll do some letterboxed letter buzz for the movie. But because we spoke about 3 freaking movies, I figured I'd just give you guys the rundown of each and then call it a day. So in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace.